Hello everyone and welcome to a guided walkthrough for your first few days and nights in Desolate Planet. So I have played this for a little bit and a couple people have commented wanting a guide. So that's what we're going to do. So first things first, you have to understand the heat system. So before that even, you've got this grace period. So when you first enter your world, you have 5 minutes. So I'm in creative right now for this guide. You have 5 minutes where heat is not going to be a problem at all, right? Now, that's good to know because you're going to have to take advantage of that time. So when you first get started, you're going to want to come in here. You're going to want to grab your tools and specifically these things here for the first quest, which are going to be these tools, right? So you're going to need your sieve with the string mesh and your crescent hammer. That's going to give you your first water bottles. All right, you're going to need those to survive. So let me go ahead and head back into survivor real quick. So I've got 6 water bottles and I've got the next piece is like, okay, well, you got your water. Now what do we need? You need food, and that's going to come in through the easy route, which gives you a bunch of stuff plus some food, or the hard route, which gives you a couple saplings and a little bit of food. For the purpose of this guide, I'm going to show you the hard route and then the easy route, because honestly, this is easy. It's not going to give you too much difficulty. But the hard route is where we're going to start this off. All right. So first things first, you have to understand that you have this water out front. This is going to allow you to get cooled off. However, if you are moving in the water, your water drains faster. So first thing I do is I'm going to stand still in the base of the water, and that's going to give me a lot of cooling factor without draining. You got your lava here. That's going to get you nice and cooking real quick. So while you're in here getting your first water, we need to get this clay. Probably easy to do this outside of the water, but you know, it is what it is. And then there should be, there it is. All right, I'm like, I know there's one more clay. So you're gonna need all 4 blocks of this clay for your crucibles. We're gonna make those here soon. Before I even get to that, we need to get some dirt, right? So that we can start planting these trees, get some bone meal, you know, get that wood going. However, what I like to do when you get started is I like to have some solid blocks to work with, and that's what this is going to do for you. All right, this tinted clear glass, you can break that with your hands, and that's going to give you solid blocks. These are the first solid blocks you can get. You should end up with around 40 or so. And these are going to be useful for creating a nice base. It's going to be useful for setting up a boundary, you know, maybe a shelf on some walls around one of your doors. However you decide you want to play and use your solid blocks. I'll show you what I do, but by no means do you have to copy what I do. All right. All right, so that's going to be our 41, 42, 43. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was, 43. Now, you also have these lights that are inside and outside of the ship. These can also be broken by hand, and I actually encourage you to do that for some of them so that you can use them in an underground space. I recommend going underground because the later in the day it gets, or the closer to midday it is, the hotter it is. And you definitely don't want to be with the heat while also trying to build a base that you can survive, because you're going to drain your water faster, right? So the hotter it is, the faster your water gets drained as you move. All right. So that's one of the big things that you have to understand is the more you're moving when you're hot, that's what causes your water to go down. So if you notice down at my my water bar, nothing's happening. Right? I'm not losing it. But as soon as I start moving, I start losing my water. Okay? And that's not what we want. Now, I block this off because that's going to be where my wall is for my base. And then I come in here and I block it off right here as well. And because I'm blocking it off here, these are the lights I take, right? So this is my way of doing it. Because the goal for me right now is I need to get a foundation built that allows me to survive the night without difficulty. All right, so I've got my internal. Now it's time to work on the external base. Now this is where, for me, these blocks are going to come in real handy because I now have the ability to have a base. Right now, so what I do, I want to go 5 blocks out at least, because I want to make sure that there's room to grow a tree, right? So if I understand that, you know, a tree typically needs a 5x5 space of a certain height, if I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, there's my base. Now I still have 12 blocks. I am going to extend this out a little bit more. Come on. I've got 1 extra. Not a big deal, right? So what I do from this point is I'm going to take all this dust. It's about to get really hot, so I'd like to get cool as soon as possible. And a part of that is staying under solid blocks and shade so that I don't overheat. Because that sun at midday, like when I'm outside here, you see that 4-degree difference, right? That may not seem like much, but it adds up pretty quick. So, gonna get this little shelter made, and this is what's gonna allow me to work and survive for the rest of my first few days. And we'll be able to do a lot of good work from this foundation. So I'll see you guys in here in just a second. All right, so now you guys can see my temperature is dropping real fast, even though it's still hot out, because I'm under the tinted glass. As soon as I step back out under the sun, I'm burning up. So already I'm able to preserve a lot of my water by not overheating as much, simply because I'm willing to stand under the tinted glass and work there, right? Now, right now at least, the goal is just get a wall formed so that I can have a space to build and get my trees to grow. I guess I don't need to worry about that part too much. We're almost there. Go ahead and drink 1 water bottle. Now, I recommend taking your time, drinking your water. Don't rush in and try to keep this maxed out constantly all the time. It doesn't do you any favors. Just have your water on you. Make sure that you don't dehydrate yet, because that's going to be one of the big killers early on in this pack. If you're not managing your water well, you're going to have issues. Now, one thing I want to point out, I have had to drink 1 water bottle. Right? Now, granted, I was in creative for the first couple seconds here, just so I could do that intro properly. Just by, you know, in case I wanted to adjust anything. But now we've got a space. This is a fully covered, mob-proof area, right? Mobs can't get in. Now out here, I want to make sure that when it's time for me to travel in the outdoors, that I'm going to be able to do so and that I won't be in danger constantly. So I like to have a little spot there, and then I'm going to build a little moat down here, just so that I can check what's going on outside without instantly being swarmed by mobs. right? Because you get a lot of them. Nighttime is no joke in this pack. So if you are stuck outside, I mean, if that's how you want to play it, go for it. But you don't have to be outside. You don't have to have a wall on the outside to keep you safe before you get your blocks taken care of. And then once that's done, I do want to keep one block here. Whoop, not right there. Right there. Thank you. So that I can still get in. And then I'm done being outside. Now I do want to take this with me. I'll take these. I don't use these, but I have them. And then what I like to do is, now that I'm inside, boom, there we go. So now I'm gonna have a little space in here where I can cool off at any time without having to go back outside. So I'm gonna stay cool a lot longer. Now I've got these lights. I want to make sure that these are going to be taking care of me. 3, 4, 5 right here. So build my space. I've got a nice 5x5 area that is open to me to start growing trees. And this is really where the game starts for me, is so long as you're 7 blocks down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to go 2 more down, and then I'll be able to start growing my trees. All right, so we got that cleared out. And now if I'm ready, I can go ahead and place my first dirt there, but oh no, where's my dirt? So I really have to sift first. That's a requirement to get your first dirt, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check here. Yeah, you got to get a bone meal, right? So what I like to do is, once I'm up here, I'll use this little space as my initial, well, also, here's just a quick tip for you. Crafting table and a stick, go ahead, throw that in your bobble slot. Pick a keybind that makes sense for you. I just use the grave key or the tilde key, and it brings up your crafting grid. Super useful tool. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so there's my sieve. There's my mesh. Here's my dust. And this early time, it's really just go sift, right? Like, get that done. There's our first bone meal. So now, manual submit, claim reward. We get our first piece of dirt. Now, put our dirt right there. And because I've got extra space, I can put my first light right here. We'll go ahead and throw another one up there, because why not? And I've got this Phyto Grow. I might as well use this early on. I recommend using birch, even though it's an ugly tree. It's just, I know it's going to be small, and it's going to be taken care of. So, that is the majority of the first day, is getting here to your first tree. Now that you've got your tree, go ahead and break some of the blocks. Make sure you don't break all of them yet, though, because we want to at least get a crook, so we can get some saplings and some silkworms if possible, right? So, I'm gonna go ahead and get some sticks, and this is a tinker tool, right? So you'll be able to repair this in your tinker table, all of that good stuff, right? So, water bottle, acceptable. What do we have? Purified? Yeah, so it's gonna make you get your water. Now these are the quests that I highly recommend getting done pretty quickly. Is the tinker tool, getting the part builder and the tinker station, and the sapping the saplings, getting your water bottle. Now, you can use your centrifugal separator. They do give us some power, right? Could use that. I'm going to hold on to this though, because this is going to make it easier to get my sink core, or not my sink core, my sink shell made, because it requires approximately 500,000 RF. So this is a clone for me, right? I personally don't use these. If you want to use them, go for it. The way it works, the centrifugal separator, you put that down, and the fluid encapsulator. This is going to take your saplings and turn them into water. It's going to leave a stick behind to give you the little water. Water goes into the encapsulator. The water comes in here. You give it a bottle, and it bottles it for you. You get your water bottle out. That's fine. It's just not how I like to play. So that's not what I'm going to do. But here we go. I'm going to start with this. Get at least 3 saplings because I like to have extras. And what I do with my saplings, just to make sure, early game, is I come up in here and I'm going to put an extra one right in there. Okay, now it's finally nighttime. I will drink my second water bottle of the pack, right? And then now we need that tinker station. So if we do at tinker, we're going to see the different blocks that we're able to make. And I'm looking for the part builder, which is, 2 planks plus some patterns. And then the tinker station, which is again 4 planks, but this time with 5 patterns. Now to make a pattern, pretty easy to do. You're going to use this, and actually 6 is enough to get us going, except for the fact that I need 1 more wood, and I've got 1 more wood in there. So here we go. Go ahead and do that. Now this is how I use my first wood, is on all of this. And then typically after I get the tinker stuff made, I'm going to make stairs so that I'm not wasting my hunger coming up here. But again, we've got 4 nutrient bars or nutrient bricks. That's going to give us plenty to get us by until our food source is taken care of. But for now, we're going to go ahead and build the tinker tool. Oh wait, was that not what it was? Oh, there we go. Oh, so I guess we could have. All right, so just kidding. You don't need to use your first little bit to get that last piece. However, we are going to need some more patterns. So we're going to go ahead and get that going. So let's see. First things first, let's go ahead and get these stations placed down. And what this is going to do is going to allow you to actually get the comma built, because the comma is going to be your best friend. So you're going to need a small blade, tool handle, and a tool binding. So for the blade, I'm going to go with some wood because that's what I have. And then, so that I don't lose these leaves that I've got in there, you can go ahead and just keep sifting, get a bit more bone meal, use that for the handle and binding. And that's going to allow you to get your leaves to make food via dirt, as well as getting some water via the crucible and smelting them down in that. So I'm gonna go ahead and sift for a minute. This is really just what you have to do. Get through like a stack of dust during the night, and you should have everything you need to get to the next step. All right, so that's where I'm going to pause that. We're going to go ahead and use this. We're going to get a tool binding and a tool handle. We're going to go ahead and make the comma. Boom, boom, boom. And what this is going to do is give us our leaves. Yeah, see that? Boom. Your second set of solid-ish blocks. Now, leaves... Oh, shoot, yeah. Yeah, I meant to say, don't do what I did there. When your leaves are no longer attached to the log, they just decay immediately, and you'll miss out. So I got 12 leaves out of that. Not great, but it is what it is. I still have extra saplings. I'm going to go ahead and place those, and I'm going to use this Phyto Grow because now is the time to use it. Okay, there we go. And comma comes back out. And I'm going to go ahead and get all of these because I'm going to need this because 40 leaves gives you 1 bucket of water. All right, that's the main number to be aware of. So you want to make sure you have at least a big stockpile of leaves, right? So every 2 stacks, essentially, you will be able to make 3 buckets. So just keep that in mind. So I've got like barely 1 bucket there, okay? So go in here, give it a stick, heal that up real quick. Boom. All right, so that is our first bucket of water right there. Now each bucket of water is going to give you 4 water bottles. So next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need another 7 bone meal so that you can make your crucible. The unfired porcelain crucible. You're going to get porcelain clay, which is clay with bone meal. Once you have this, you're going to need to smelt it, which means we need to get the furnace. To get the furnace, we need cobblestone. To get the cobblestone, it's not going to give us the recipe for it, which is kind of funny, but that's what these stone pebbles, right? You're going to put these together, and that's going to give you your cobblestone. And you're going to need 8. So really the big part of this is going to be harvesting leaves, getting your stone via sifting, all that stuff, right? So I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead and get that cobblestone and show you what's next. All right, so here we go. We got that cobblestone. Once we've got all that done, come on, thank you. We're going to get that furnace. We're going to take this, craft it with that, and we're going to get our unfired porcelain, right? Now, what I recommend doing is getting some charcoal pretty early on because you're going to need this for a few different things. 1, fuel for your furnace, and 2, you're going to need it to make a campfire. Now the campfire is going to be what I recommend as being your main heat source for your crucible so that it's able to melt down your leaves properly and get you that water. All right, so let's go ahead and break this down. We're going to use this second tree to get water started. Having only used a couple bottles, we've used 2 because it gave us 4 empty ones, I believe. Boom, boom, and boom. All right, go ahead and place that last sapling there. Now I am going to, well, I guess I don't need to do it that way. I'm gonna put my furnace down here, and I'm going to use this to get some sticks. Use that, and I'm going to smelt 2 of those, maybe just 1 for now. And the reason I'm doing that is to get the charcoal, like I said, right? Then I need to do the porcelain crucible, and let me show you how that's going to work out for us. Now, I do recommend getting the hopper as soon as possible. We got a bunch of stuff here, so well, I guess that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Once you make your furnace, they'll give you the fuel, right? Once you get these, they'll give you some extra of that. You do have to make your first wooden tool handle, so if you do that, go ahead, get your first patterns made so that you don't have to spend extra wood early on. You do need to make a blade, and you get to choose, you know, whatever material you want. It says bone blade, doesn't have to be. I recommend getting your red heart canister if that's something you're interested in, having extra hearts, Alternatively, the shells is going to be super powerful because that is going to be good for your shotgun, right? So that's going to give us 48 shells instead of just 12. This is going to give us our rubber wood saplings. If you want to grow rubber wood in here, you need to go down an extra like 4 or 5 blocks. You need a lot of space for those, okay? So that's getting us through those first quests. And melting pot, this is getting that porcelain crucible, which we've got ready now, right? Now, this is where you got to make a decision. You're going to get a seared faucet and a casting table. That's going to allow you to melt ores in your crucible to get metals and pour them out to get either the pickaxe head, or a small blade, or an ingot, right? Once you get your gold going, you can go ahead and make all these as you want. Not a big deal. I'll go ahead and go with the ingot cast, okay? Once you get enough sifting done, you're going to be able to smelt up a lot of your stuff. And, you know, actually what I should do is go put some of this stuff in here because I don't need it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of this stuff away that I don't need at the moment. That ought to do. Don't need that anymore. I've got all the wood that I need for you guys. All right. So to use that, you would right click it, you'd put your heart pieces in there, and then you can install it as a bauble, right? So something to be aware of there. However, next up what we need the campfire, which is pretty straightforward. Get your sticks, make that. Now, here's the other thing that you need to be aware of, and that is sources of heat, right? Yeah, go ahead and just drop yourself down there. So now that I've placed this here, temperature, it's rising, okay? So what I would recommend doing is actually replacing these first blocks here with some leaves, and I'll show you that here. Boom, boom, boom. And what that's going to allow you to do is just dig under the ship, right? That's going to give you some more space, and I would recommend putting your heat source over there under the ship instead. However, just because this isn't my main world and I'm using it as a guide just to showcase how to get started, I'm not too worried about it right now. So yeah, I'll go ahead and break this actually, because maybe I will. All right, so we got some extra charcoal out of that. Cool, cool. And we're gonna go campfire. There we go. So we're gonna go further in. Now the heat is going to be blocked by blocks, right? So if you have solid blocks in the way, it's not gonna reach you as well. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna go across over to the other side. And I think it's just one more. Put that there, and then I'm going to put my crucible right on top. Now, when I start putting in those leaves, I believe you can put in quite a few really to get it started. Yeah, look at that. You can put a ton in. See that? And what that's going to do, it's going to fill up with a bunch of water for me while I go ahead and drink my 4th water bottle, or 3rd. Yeah, 3rd water bottle. While we're into like midday of the 2nd day, right? So here is your campfire. That's going to allow you to get your water. Now, if you want to do your casting of ingots, you can do that as well. You're going to need to get a bunch of metals from sifting. So again, this all comes from sifting. Get these done quick so you can get that hopper. Place the hopper over there, throw your leaves in, and it keeps it going automatically, right? So let's go ahead and take a look here for a second. Let's do, just so I can show you a little more quickly. I don't need all this stuff right now. So we're going to go hopper. We're going to grab that hopper. Pretty straightforward. I mean, I don't think you guys need me to explain that one to you. Yeah, if I can place, there we go. All right. You'll put that in there, put your leaves in, it'll just do its thing. Now, next up though, you are going to want a barrel. So we're going to go ahead and grab that barrel. And I recommend putting your barrel somewhere near here because this is where you're grabbing your water anyway. Once you have your bucket, you're going to be taking your water out of there and you're going to put it into the oak barrel. And once you put it in here, it's going to be acceptable. Okay. If you take your water out and you put it anywhere else on the ground, it's going to be dirty. Now, when you have dirty water, let's see, will it give us the different water bottles? No, it won't. Okay. I guess I could do it from here. I don't know how that works. I'm gonna be real. Anyway, get rid of that. All right. So we're gonna take our water bottles. Once this has a full bucket in there, I guess I can just grab a bucket of water. Can I? Nope, that won't do it. All right. All right. Anyway, once that water is done, once the water's done, then we're going to need to get another barrel. We're going to go leaves. All right, now when it comes to getting more dirt, what you're going to need is another barrel, and you're just going to place leaves, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to get your dirt. Now, once you have your dirt, you're going to come up here, and you want to guess what you're going to do with it? That's right. You're going to sift it. So we're going to go ahead and get that dirt. Not the coarse dirt. We're just going to want normal dirt. And as you sift this, you're going to get a bunch of goodies, right? So you're going to get more stones, right? So if you're able to jump into that and you don't like sifting the dust, go for it. You'll get more rocks. Okay, grass seeds, that's useful. Getting more stone pebbles, right? Now, after a while, you are going to end up getting a lot of goodies, right? You're going to get some seeds for the different trees. You'll get your oak acorn. You'll get peanuts and beans. Now, I recommend getting your tomatoes, your beans, and your onions. You want to get those going and you want to grow them pretty quick because what that's going to do is it's going to provide you with a special food using the cooking pot, which is going to be, a little bit later on. So yeah, I mean, that's really just the starting point. I don't want to go into too much depth past this point because, I want you to enjoy the game as well. But just surviving the first day or two, I mean, this will take up a lot of your time, is harvesting the trees and just keeping that cycle going of the leaves, sieving it down, getting more pebbles and seeds, and once you have the seeds you need, go ahead and start growing stuff, getting your bone meal, getting your tools made, and then I highly recommend making stairs so that you're not jumping up to get up there, just to preserve your hunger a little bit more. And yeah, I mean, that's your water, that's your food, and that's your first 2 days completely taken care of on minimal water, and I haven't had to eat yet. So with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.